Welcome to Small Caps. Great to have your company. I'm Peter Capsanis. Tambourah Metals is a Perth-based gold and lithium explorer with its flagship project in WA's Pilbara region. The company has just released some positive high-grade gold hits at Tambourah King. And to tell us more, I'm joined by company chair Rita Brooks. Rita, welcome to Small Caps.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to discuss our projects.
I'm very much looking forward to it. Now, before we get to the drill results, Rita, let's start off with a bit of a recap. What is the Tambourah story? What is the long game?
Tambourah listed in August in 2021, and since then we listed with gold and nickel projects, but we've accelerated our lithium exploration because we're in the right place at the right time. The growth opportunity in Pilbara for lithium exploration alongside our gold projects has been a growing opportunity, and as a result we've significantly acquired over 300 square kilometres of pegmatites south of Nullagine. It was an area that wasn't explored, and we've moved into that area in the last 2 years.
You've also got assets, I think, in the Northern Goldfield, south of Nullagine. You've also got some assets, I think, north of Perth as well, and obviously in the Pilbara region that I mentioned in my intro. We'll talk about those gold hits around Tambourah King in a moment, as I mentioned, but you've also released some further news today, some exciting news in relation to the lithium assets. What can you share with us today, Rita?
What we've been following, and we've done some work at the southern area of Haystack Well, which is part of the Russian Jack project, and we've done some drone mapping. We've started to find extensive pegmatites, and we've overlaid that with the data that was done in 2017, 2018, which was extensive soil sampling in 3 particular areas. And the soil sampling, some of it's 4 kilometres long, but it's all over 180 ppm. And some of it in particular is 500 ppm in lithium in soils. So we're relating that to the actual pegmatites that are within 20 metres, and we're on the ground now mapping and sampling those to see where the fertile pegmatites are. But we're not lost for choice there. We've completed a ethno survey, and hopefully this mapping and sampling will have those results in 4 weeks.
Okay, all right, well, not too far away. So whereabouts geographically are we talking about? You mentioned the Russian Jack site.
Yeah,
so how far to Tambourah King is that, or how far away?
Oh, southern 40 to 60 kilometres south of Nullagine is the Russian Jack project, and an hour to the west is the Tambourah Goldfield, and that's just south of it's inland from the highway, the Port Hedland to Newman Highway. So it's very accessible. It's a goldfield that had over 30 historic gold mines and prospects in the 1890s. And in particular, I haven't been able to find any drill holes from the 1900s onwards at the World's Fair. So we just drilled there. We're waiting on those results. And today on Monday, we released the results of the Tambourah King drilling initially, which were one hole in particular was 28 grams for a metre at 70 metres depth. And that same hole at 50 metres had 20 grams. So that gold in quartz, and it was what drove the gold miners in the first instance, but we're looking for extensive mineralisation these days.
All right, well, look, if we just stick with the lithium mapping and sampling news for now before we get stuck in the gold, what's the next step in terms of, I think you said you'll reassess in 4 weeks' time, any drilling plans for to sort of go over the soil and sampling area there at the Haystack Well?
The Haystack Well is related to an old tin tantalum alluvial mine, but we recently drilled 3 weeks ago that Shaw River tin tantalum area, and that area has pegmatites that are extensive, and we're sampling those. We drilled one area just to get a first pass indication, and that we're waiting on those results. And at Tambourah North, there's, again, pegmatites that have been hit the surface, and we drilled some of that area, and we did a 350 metres of drilling over 3 areas. The pegmatites didn't have depth. They were about 3 metres. But in particular, we hit sulfides down to 120 metres. So we're now sampling that area for gold as well as lithium.
All right. You've got the whole smorgasbord there on your, you got the whole buffet there, Rita. So you've got gold, you've got lithium, you've got tin, tantalum. And, so yeah, I'll come back to my original question. You're obviously in the exploration space at the moment, and obviously pending further drilling. What's the long game for Tambourah Metals?
I think when you look at the likes of Wildcat, Azure, and a lot of the Pilbara and Wodgina, they're all related to mining of tin tantalum. And there's always tin and tantalum within the areas because the cassiterite is formed from the pegmatites. And to have fertile pegmatites with spodumene is an area that is yet to be drilled. A lot of the old alluvial tin and tantalum workings were never drilled. So that's really the long game.
Yeah, this whole area, this whole terrain that you've got the license to, as you said, it's not new to exploration. It dates back to the gold rush era. So do we know what kind of resource approximate it is in terms of gold, and then in terms of the other assets as well?
Yeah, not in terms of the gold, we've applied for mining leases so that we can fully develop the Tambourah Goldfield. And at the Shaw River, we've got areas that we are ready to drill. We're following that up with the mapping and sampling just to be to qualify particular drill targets and where the terrain changes. And we're very confident that we'll be able to start drilling in end of February, March next year, again for lithium.
Okay, all right. And with the gold news, the hits that you released this week, can you elaborate for me how significant they are? What does it mean for further exploration, further drilling in terms of, I guess, extending and the longevity of the Tambourah story? They have a Tambourah King. What does it mean going forward for you?
In terms of, we had drilled, our first drill program was last year, and we followed up at Tambourah King with those drill hits, and we had 22 metres there at approximately 2 grams. However, a metre at 28 grams just within that same 50-metre area means that we're following a gold mineralisation zone that's yet to be fully developed, and so that will be one of our priorities. And we're looking forward to getting the results of the World's Fair, which produced 3,000 ounces in 1890s. So we want to see what's left and also to see what's at depth. So the plan there is to see to try and drill test as many of these old prospects and utilise that and model them into a resource. Is
there a preference in terms of what you'd is mining activity something on the horizon, on the table, or does it depend on what brings back what in terms of hits? If gold hits stronger, or if lithium hits stronger, is that where you're going to play it by at this stage, or is there a concentrated focus on developing both aspects, or are you waiting? Or is it more of a case of wait and see right now?
We're really excited about the lithium because it was something that didn't have any prominence in 3 years ago. So being first movers in the Pilbara, we're one of the largest landholders now in the east and the west Pilbara. So we've got a good opportunity to actually find depth, but you only do that with drilling. So again, we've got to be focused in where we drill, how we model it, and what how close we are to the source. So finding 500 ppm of lithium in soils is a massive starting point. And also we have extensive soils up to 200 ppm within these areas. So we know that the pegmatites within the area are fertile. We don't know which ones.
Well, gold's on the cusp of hitting 2,000 US. Well, it was overnight. Lithium is flavour of the month and has been for a little while. You are blessed by the sounds of it and by the looks of it with choice. Not many can say that. So I guess when you're talking to investors, I think you've got a multi-pronged attack and a positive story in that case.
I think we've also got the advantage to be first movers, and we've moved south to the area at Lake Johnson for that reason. Research has shown that there's historic pegmatites at Lake Johnson where Rio, Charger and TG6 are, and there was an opportunity there to apply for ground. So we've got 2 exploration licenses underway there. And of course, you can't work in the Pilbara for the next few months till the end of February and March. Till March, it's not very accommodating. So being on the ground in the south is a great opportunity for us, especially because we've got 2 target areas with pegmatites, and we think the approval process will be a lot easier or smoother in the south because there's already areas that we don't have to do a large amount of pre-work.
So moving forward, would you say that there'll be further drilling the start of the second quarter of next year in terms of the gold asset, so to speak, and in terms of drilling, following on from the soil sampling and mapping as far as Haystack and Russian
Shaw River.
Shaw River, same time frame?
Yeah. Well, actually, I think Shaw River will be drilling sooner. We'll get the results of our first pass of drilling from Tambourah North for lithium and Shaw River, and from that we'll be able to get on the ground a bit sooner, we think. And as a result of that, we've got good target areas to develop once we highlight the rest of our sampling, and also determine again where the fertile pegmatites are. So that's number 1. And again, number 2, getting on the ground at Lake Johnson Southeast, just to investigate the type of pegmatites and the structural controls that are on those pegmatites. So that's a new opportunity, but it is a little bit more palatable to work in the south, north of Ravensthorpe there.
Yeah, you're talking about your southeast Yilgarn assets, as you call them, is that right?
Yes, yeah, Lake Johnson Southeast, and it's other highlight is that the road from Lake King to Norseman goes through the project, so we love it when there's a road and access is easy.
Yeah, well, you mentioned access to Port Hedland, I think, for your Pilbara project, and you've got access to Esperance or Albany ports if something was to eventuate. So you're strategically placed for any future mining prospectivity, you could say.
Yes, but with the gold, we've got several plants in the area, several processing plants, and you've got De Grey coming on. And De Grey was in a similar situation. It was a historic gold camp with old mining leases and prospects. And Tambourah is the same. It's situated southeast of there. It's different terrain, but a similar analogy for gold in the Pilbara.
So anyone who's just I guess, came across Tambourah Metals more recently and isn't too au fait with what the story is, what would you say to them? What would you say, if you want them to come on board and have a look and take a leap of faith, so to speak? Why should they? Why should someone invest in Tambourah Metals?
We've got, with the analogy is that Wildcat, Azure, all tin tantalum within the prospect areas, and drilling has hit fertile pegmatites at depth. So at Shaw River, at Tambourah Creek, and at Haystack Well, we have alluvial tin tantalum workings from the 50s to the 70s. So it's an established area. Tantalum is $150,000 a tonne US. So finding tantalum and lithium within those areas is still a viable project. And gold, as you say, 2,000 US striking there. It's a very attractive return for shareholders. And again, Lake Johnson is again, that was the Haystack Well was 4 kilometres of 200 ppm, 180 ppm lithium in soils. Lake Johnson is that area that has recently defined a 4-kilometre area, but the drilling is at 9 metres. It proves that they've got spodumene. So you've got fertile pegmatites within these areas, and it's up to us to drill them and find the lithium.
All right. Well, sounds like the more positive news and news flows on the way. First quarter, maybe second quarter of 2024, maybe even sooner. Who knows?
Well, I think in a couple of weeks we should have some drill holes from Shaw River and also Tambourah North. So the first pass drilling that we've already done, we hope to bring those results in a few weeks.
Okay. Well, it might be an opportunity for another quick chat with yourself, Rita. Well, look, before we sort of wrap things up, was there anything else you wanted to leave us with? Was there any other takeaway messages you have for us and the viewers and listeners?
We're busy on the ground and we're a good opportunity, and I think we've been flying under the radar, and possibly because we have two strong assets of class of gold and lithium, but it's not unusual within the Pilbara. Pilgangora's right next door to Lynas, which is a gold mine, and I think at Tambourah we've got gold, we've got lithium to the north within that same region, and looking forward to bringing you some good news in the next few weeks.
Well, we'll certainly be listening in and tuning in for the positive news, and do, by all means, keep us posted. But in the meantime, Rita, thanks for taking some time out to chat to us today and to bring us up to speed on all things involving Tambourah Metals. We'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Peter. Nice. Thank you. Bye.